All right. Hello. I wanted to throw together this video to demo a cool little project that I worked on this last weekend to solve a real problem that I had. This problem probably requires a little bit of background context. And so, for those of you that don't know me, I run a software development company called Clarify, and we are in the middle of launching our very first proprietary SaaS product this year. And it's really exciting. And we have a handful of engineers that we've hired, and we're working with a QA lead, and things are feeling really good. But I've got a mountain of Jira work on my plate because I'm the closest thing that we have to a product manager, but I'm also, you can call me the main engineer architect of the team, right? I'm writing code and I'm going and balancing Jira, making sure that everyone on the team has work to do, that it's well defined. And as you can imagine, it's a lot. And I spend late hours at night trying to balance this. I get up early in the morning. I am operating on not as much sleep as I would like. Let's just put it that way. So, yeah, and Jira is a big time suck, right? Especially with a distributed team, everyone working asynchronously. We need to make sure that the quality of the tickets that we're working on is really high, right? So that we don't need to have these long conversations clearing up, uncertainties and things like that. We want to take a really good initial stab and get to what in the business we call definition of ready, right? In the agile world, so that tickets can be picked up and worked on. Okay, so that's setting the stage for what I decided to build this last weekend. Um, because the building of the Jira tickets and making sure that they're structured properly, et cetera, it takes a lot of time for me. I decided I was going to build an AI agent that was going to serve as my product manager, right? And so I jumped into Miro. I whipped up kind of a rough diagram, designing out what I thought this agent should do. And there are kind of two roles that are involved between different large language models participating in this agent flow. The main agent is our product manager. Okay. Um, and I will attach to the description a link to a definition of an AI agent. I'm not going to try and define it here because I'm sure I'm going to misarticulate it. So have a look there. But our product manager in this case is our AI agent that's going to work autonomously to figure out how to achieve our objective of creating a Jira ticket. And not just any Jira ticket, but like a well structured Jira ticket, given all of our products, business context, our product context, and I wanted to make sure that we were covered from a technical angle too, right? We've got a lot of documentation so far around the architecture of our platform, code standards, different patterns that we have in place, full stack essentially. And I wanted all of these things to factor in addition to our actual current set of Jira tickets in the backlog, into the construction of this ticket, right? I don't think many people realize this, but it's a lot of work, right? Like running a polished backlog as a PM is not an easy feat, and you need to work with your technical counterparts to make sure that every ticket is ready to go. And anyway, and so that's what we're trying to do here. I set out to emulate the product manager, engineering manager, or tech lead or principal, whatever you have in your company, that relationship, that dynamic where you have this, product and engineering partnership going back and forth to create, refine, and perfect these Jira tickets to ideally get to definition of ready for your team to be able to take that work on. And so here's the design. Product manager is the main agent. It's going to take in a feature request or functionality request, and it's going to derive some requirements, both functional and non-functional. It's going to go and speak to where we have all of our documentation, which is Notion. It's going to pull product-related documentation into the context at which it will use to um, basically run through a prompt and try and take a stab at creating this initial Jira ticket. But before it does that, it's also going to pull from Jira all of our current tickets that are not done, right? Including epics, right? And this is important because maybe there's pre-existing work that relates to the new request, and we want to be able to link that, right? And so Once we've got all that context, it goes and attempts to draft a Jira ticket, right? Comes up with a summary, the description, labels, fixed version, and if it thinks that there's an appropriate epic to associate it with, an epic. It then passes this draft off to our tech lead or EM, call it what you will, and this person is going to pull a bunch of technical context in. So it's sourcing things like, I think I already mentioned, like architecture documentation, coding standards, et cetera, as reference for evaluating that ticket. It too is also looking at our full set of Jira tickets too. And it's building this technical context to be able to evaluate the quality of the Jira ticket that the product manager is proposing. It then produces that feedback in text form, right? And it also provides a score rating the quality of the ticket. And this is really key because once it passes back its response to the product manager, that product manager agent is going to see, okay, what was the quality of the initial draft that I gave to my tech lead, right? And this is totally arbitrary in terms of the numbers themselves, but um, for me in this flow, I'm using a score of 0 to 1. And if the score is less than zero point 0.8, then the product manager needs to further refine the ticket. And so it's going to create a new draft using the feedback that the tech lead gave it. And it's going to pass that new draft back to the tech lead, thus creating this cycle here, right? The refinement cycle. And it will do this as many times as it needs to until we see a score better than zero point 0.8. Well, either equal to or better than zero point 0.8. At which point, once it achieves that, it goes and creates the Jira ticket. And so that was a lot of talking. Let me jump to the actual demo. Um, so, and for those of you that are not familiar with Nation, um, you can build all kinds of things on here, not just AI agents, but you're going to hear me describe what are called sub workflows. Just like you can kind of decompose different logic and operations in code, you can do the same thing here. You can have one flow call another. And so the flow that's getting consumed by another flow, a higher level flow, I'm calling subflow. And it seems like that tends to be the rhetoric you hear when people are talking about Nation. And so we've got a variety of subflows that are going to be consumed. And here is our main product manager agent. And so it's going to receive that feature request, as I mentioned. This AI agent has been prompted with an objective. It knows the rules that it can follow and the tool calls it can make to go and do certain things. And if you really look through this, you'll see it aligns quite closely with the flow that we designed here. And we have some stuff around like output format JSON, right? Um, and then we hook up the tool calls, right? And so we've told the AI agent, here are the tool calls that are available to you. You can either generate an initial Jira ticket, you can get feedback from your tech lead, or you can refine the Jira ticket given that feedback, right? And you can call these, in whatever order you like, but because it knows what the rules are and what its objective is, it's able to go and do this. And that's the really cool part. We've got, the ball on the AI agent's court. It's up to the large language model that's powering this to decide what is the most appropriate next tool call given these rules. And you'll see it's actually really consistent. And so let's give this a go. I already typed in a prompt I want to use here for a new story, which is to create a new module for our scheduler config entity in our API. I haven't run this yet, so this doesn't exist in Jira yet. But I also gave it a couple little bullet points here. Let's see. I don't think I can. There we go. That's a little bigger. Right, just a few extra details. This stuff might go into, functional requirements and acceptance criteria, et cetera. And then I also attached some additional documentation. Now, this is something that I could have had the tech lead in this get tech lead feedback. As it's building context, I could have had it go and fetch this specific document. Um, but I haven't created that subflow yet. So this is a work in progress. So I just attached it here. But let's see how it goes. I'm going to go ahead and send this off to the AI agent. And if you're interested, we have a lot of Claude models powering this. Um, the easier things I have being powered by lower spec models just to save on cost. And so you'll see the order of operations here. The AI agent first saves to memory our original request. And then now it's gone and decided to make a tool call to get an initial Jira ticket, right? Which it has done. Now the that initial step of getting that Jira ticket created has happened. You can see the Jira ticket configuration that that first step resulted in. It's got a couple labels, API, V001, which is our first version, which is great. And now it's going and talking to our tech lead, right? It's made this tool call. Let's see what the tech lead thinks. And it looks like it scored it pretty high. We got a 0.85 on that first configuration attempt. So it's got some feedback, et cetera, et cetera. We ended up meeting that criteria of 0.85 being the cutoff quality threshold, which means the AI agent determined it's done. And it was able to pass the result off to a step which goes and preps a payload to be sent off to Jira to create a ticket. And you can see that ticket was successfully created here. And let's see, I'm just going to click into this ticket and we'll overwrite the key here. Scheduler config, create RESTful API resource for schedule configuration. Right? And so user story as a developer integrating the bundler schedule tool, I want to retrieve schedule configuration via an API endpoint using my API key so I can properly initialize and configure the schedule experience for my customers. Right. And it's got a bunch of detailed acceptance criteria. This is, yeah, this is quite detailed. And maybe it's missing a few things, but I like it. I think the composition of this ticket works. And, I've got some nifty little labels that have been added. Every single thing that this workflow creates, it adds a created by nation label so that I can go and find that. It also will make sure that every ticket is still labeled needs grooming. It got the appropriate version though, and the API label as well. I'm happy with this. So yeah, this is why I'm going to be using this product manager AI agent from here on to help me bootstrap my backlog. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed, and feel free to ask questions in the comments. I will also export the workflows configuration in case anyone else wants to take a stab at using this tool. So yeah, it will require you download or join Nation. They have a hosted version, or you can do self-host, in which case you would clone their repo or run Docker Compose, etc. And so yeah, hope you enjoyed. Thanks.